What about the studies on onions? Well, a recent article published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that, and a large European study in 12 different countries in Europe, showed that people who ate the most onions had between 60 and 75% reduction in all major cancers. They reduced colon cancer, they reduced prostate cancer, they reduced breast cancer, they reduced ovarian cancer, just from the higher consumption of onions. You ever cut an onion and it gives off that gas? Well, as the gas is given off, a chemical reaction is occurring, creating these disulfides and anti-cancer nutrients that are formed as you cut that onion. It's like a chemical reaction right in your own kitchen. You could smell and you could feel the effects. There's something else in these mushrooms and onions. We talked earlier about angiogenesis inhibitors and how the word angiogenesis means the growth of blood vessels. Well, when you have angiogenesis inhibitors, it prevents feeding nutrients into tumors and cancers. It doesn't allow them to grow. It prevents cancers from being formed and growing on your body because they prevent those abnormal cells from being fueled. And there's more, because in simple mushrooms are something called aromatase inhibitors. Aromatase is an enzyme that works on body hormones. And the aromatase inhibitors in the mushrooms lower the level of the toxic levels of estrogen that promote breast cancer. And they lower the hormones that promote prostate cancer. In other words, what I'm telling you here is they have multiple effects that get cancer from lots of different angles to protect the body. They induce weight loss, and they protect you against disease. And green vegetables have all types of different systems and different nutrients that put a silicone-like slippery coating on the inside of your blood vessels. They activate something inside the blood vessel called the NRF2 mechanism that prevents plaque from binding, that accelerate the rate at which fat melts away from the inside of your blood vessels. In natural foods, nature already put substances that are supposed to protect you against disease. Your body is already disease-proof. But the problem is, people don't eat those things. They don't consume them, right? All right. Let's look at Pam for a minute here, because Pam had metastatic ovarian cancer. She had 4 liters of fluid in her belly and in her lung, and her doctors told her that she had less than 1 year to live, like other people who had similar problems. Pam didn't like that prognosis, right? And I said to her, you know, who knows? Let's do everything we can to see if you could beat this. Don't give up, fight back. You know what? 17 years later, Pam doesn't have cancer anymore. She's well. She's healthy, right? She's vibrant. She's living life. She's a living success story. I'm not claiming every person with advanced cancer can reverse it, but it happened to, I'm seeing it happen to people. Now, here's a simple way you can remember the superfoods to prevent cancer. It's called GOMS. Like the word combs? Like a comb for your hair, we'll put a G in front of it instead of a C. GOMS, okay? GOMBS, greens, onions, mushrooms, beans, berries, and seeds. GOMBS, greens, onions, mushrooms, beans, berries, and seeds. You got that? Those are the most powerful disease-fighting foods on the planet. And when you eat these foods, you know, we talked about how all these foods protect against disease independently, but when you mix them together in the same diet style, can you imagine the type of cancer protection and disease protection we're going to get here? When I say we're going to win the war against cancer and we can win the war right now, is this some crazy idea that I'm a total flake, right? No, it's putting together the science from the nutritional scientific literature and showing people how they can make it taste delicious, right? How they can enjoy it, how they can be motivated to make the changes so they can protect their health. Because people deserve to know this. They deserve to have incredible health. So look, when you eat these foods, we can retrain the taste buds to like them more. You like what you're used to eating. And when you get great health, your taste buds improve as your whole body improves. Like your smell gets better, your taste gets better. It's part of being in good health is having great, strong taste buds. And you enjoy eating more, not less. Like we can make a great tasting soup on the weekend. You take it for work with you every day. Maybe put some carrot juice in the soup. Put onions and mushrooms in the soup. Put green vegetables in. Put all the spices and herbs and all the ways to make it taste great. Make a knock your socks off, great tasting mushroom bean onion soup, right? And you can have nice desserts. Maybe a dessert with frozen strawberries, you know, whipped up into like a sorbet or a frozen mango, a little coconut. Retrain and strengthen your taste buds and learn to prefer healthy eating, right? Like these other people did. And what happens when people do this? What happens when they have diseases and they do it? They can often get better. Most often they get well. Because the body is always trying to make itself get well again. It's always fighting for your health. The body is there. It's already a self-repairing, self-healing machine if you fuel it properly. We can take this science and we can apply it to have a life that's longer and more pleasurable, that couldn't have happened to our ancestors, that couldn't have happened at earlier points in human history. We didn't know as much as we know now. We're in the nutritional science is advanced, and we can take this new science and apply it in our lives. John Pelakowski has been a patient of mine. He's been a patient of mine since the early 90s. When he came to me at the age of 72, 18 years ago, he had triple vessel disease in his heart. He had blockages in his heart. He had chest pain. The cardiologist did stress tests and angiograms, showed the blockages in his heart, and told him he needed angioplasty. So he followed to the T what I told him to do. He dropped about 30, 40 pounds the first 3 or 4 months. He went back to the cardiologist, said, I'm feeling well. I can walk without pain. The cardiologist said to him, I've never seen a person reverse their heart disease like this. I never saw somebody completely reverse their heart disease without, like you did. Well, why didn't you see a lot of people? I see people like this all the time. As a cardiologist, you should be seeing hundreds of people that reverse their heart disease through natural means. You don't see it because you don't know about it to apply it. Everybody's got to know about this. Right? And here's why I'm telling you about John. He didn't just get rid of his heart disease, which of course is gone, but he's been my patient now for the last 18 years after he got rid of his heart disease. And now he's 90 years old. And now he's chopping wood in his backyard. He's climbing the roof on ladders, repairing the roof of his house. He's physically fit, slim, fit, in great shape at 90, and he's not near the end of his life. And he doesn't have heart disease. It's not from aging. Water runs off a waterfall and hits a rock. And after 20,000 years, the rock splits in two and breaks apart. The water hit the rock, and eventually it wore it down, right? Well, that's how these diseases occur. That's how heart disease occurs. You stress that body out day after day, week after week, month after month. The American diet took its toll on you over all those years. But just like John Pelakowski, the minute he changed his diet, he starts getting better and better and better as time goes on. As he's getting older, he's getting healthier. This is what we see from studies around the world. We see that primitive cultures with long-lived populations, their most elderly members of those populations have the same blood pressure as children in the same area, in the same tribe, or in the same group. In other words, it's not natural to have blood pressure rise as you age. That's unnatural. It's not natural to develop heart disease as you get older. That's unnatural. Why don't you achieve incredible health, right? You can do this. These people aren't superheroes. They're not like people with willpower of iron that nobody could do this. Every one of these people I'm showing you, there are hundreds of people like that and thousands all over the country who've achieved a personal victory through this type of program. This personal victory for yourself, for your family, and people, and you relive that victory every day. You relive that victory because people look at you and they use you as a role model, and you affect other people around you. And they think that if you can do it, I can do it too. And you get that secondary victory from the positive effect you have on people in your own environment. It makes your life incredibly valuable. And remember here, never forget that your health is your greatest wealth. I'm wishing you a long and pleasurable life. It can be yours. Thank you.